The Godfather Part 3 is the 22nd episode of the 5th season of Cheers. This is, of course, directed by the brilliant James Burrows, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts. Really brilliant episode, really strong story with some really great moments with Sam. This is something I've mentioned before, but ever since Woody joined, Sam has stepped into kind of the role that Coach had with Sam, and he's very much looking after Woody, and here we also have him looking out for Joyce as well. And I'll talk more about Joyce in a moment, but it's really fascinating to see Sam really leaning into this role, particularly, and I assume they did this on purpose, but Diane and Sam, mostly Diane, start talking about their own future children at several points in this episode. It was very well timed. It actually starts off with Diane leaving to go to a play. Yes, leaving work again early. Carla is not happy about this. So Sam tells Carla, you can leave work early if you go to the play with bleach bag. Their words, not mine. And Carla decides that this is a fair deal, and Diane realizes she doesn't want to go to the play with Carla, so she gives the tickets to Al, who goes off after Carla. It's a nice, fun, light-hearted way to start things off. Frasier then comes in, and next week is the anniversary of his meeting Lilith for the first time. He's getting her an armoire and has been leaving hints that he wants some golf clubs from her. Whether or not that happens, we'll get to that in a little bit. We then have Joyce Pantusso entering Cheers. She's played by McClain, and this is Coach's niece. And Sam is obviously delighted to see her, and they're catching up, and he's asking how everybody's doing. He then has to take a call, I think, from the supplier, and everybody's talking to Joyce, everybody's getting along with her. She seems like a really likeable character, and she gives Sam a letter from her father, and Sam reads this letter, and it basically says, you need to look out for Joyce, because she's going to Boston University, and obviously she's going to be in the city, so he trusts Sam to look after her, and Sam wants to do this because Diane kind of says, well, she needs a big sister, I'll look out for her, but Sam is adamant that it's his responsibility, which I think is really great. I think the old Sam, certainly Sam of season 1 and 2, would very quickly brush off that kind of responsibility, so we definitely have some great character development here, but he's also very concerned about it because he doesn't know anything about looking after young people, and as he points out, the kids of today, at the time, are very different to what they were like when they were 18, and he realizes that he needs somebody trustworthy to spend some time with her. She's going to be staying at Diane's while she waits for her student accommodation to become available, but Diane and Sam are working that evening, so they look for somebody trustworthy, and while Sam is saying this, Woody says, hey Sam, you remember that little bird whose wing I mended? Absolutely adorable. It takes Sam a couple of seconds to realise that actually Woody would be the perfect person to spend time with Joyce and show her the sights, and off they go. And it seems like they're getting along really well. However, Diane has concerns a little while later. Joyce didn't get in until 2:30 the following morning, or the night before, or however you want to look at the time frame. And Sam isn't bothered. It's Woody. He's not concerned. He says he's like a Disney character without the fur, which is certainly a rather adorable way to describe Woody. And Woody and Joyce then come in, and it turns out Diane was right, because Woody and Joyce announce their engagement. Sam tries to forbid them from getting married. He realizes that he can't forbid them. He's not Joyce's father, and even if he was, that wouldn't necessarily give him the right to forbid her, and of course, he's just Woody's boss. While he's looking out for them, he seems to be going about it the wrong way, so he changes tactics, and in his office, he basically begs them to get to know each other first before they move forward with this, and they agree. And then Frasier comes into Cheers with his gift. It is a grey tie, which he decides to stab on the desk. He is not happy at all. And we then have Diane and Sam talking about baby names, and Diane apparently wants to call the baby Emil. Sam is not having this at all. As I mentioned before, it's interesting to have them talking about their own children. It's very sweet and a little bit emotional. Woody and Joyce then come in and they listened to Sam's advice about getting to know each other better, and they decided the best way to do this is to move in together. And Sam lets Diane handle this because he realizes it's out of his depth, and Diane talks to Joyce and Woody in Sam's office, and Diane's face when Joyce said she wasn't going to college anymore was just amazing. And Diane paints a very grim picture of what Joyce's life will be like if she doesn't get an education. And while I feel like maybe a bit more balance was necessary, I do completely side with Diane as well. And Joyce and Woody realise that, yes, maybe they can get to know each other. Joyce can still go to college, they can still date, and it seems like they've reached the best of both worlds. And at the end, Sam and Diane are talking with each other about how they resolved the problem. They both realised they both resorted to begging and pleading, and Diane asks, how can we avoid this problem with our own children? Which again is bringing up their own kids, and I just think it's absolutely adorable and a little bit heartbreaking. And then Sam says, surprisingly for Sam, never have sex again. I never thought those words would come out of Sam's mouth. And they consider it for maybe 10 seconds, and then they embrace, and that's how we end the episode. Joyce is a really great character. I thought she was really likeable. It's also nice, of course, to have more discussion about Coach, because Coach has never really left. And I'm surprised they don't have a picture up of him. Do they? They don't, do they? There's not a photo of Coach in Cheers, is there? I'm going to sound like an absolute idiot if there is and I'm overlooking it. But I feel like there should be. If there isn't, I feel like that would be a very beautiful thing to have. But either way, it's nice to have these reminders of Coach every couple of episodes, usually at least once a season, that he's gone but certainly not forgotten. And Joyce is a lovely way to do this. I think that it's a great episode. The Godfather Part 3 definitely provides some interesting moments with Sam and Diane and their potential future children. And I love it when they work together as well. Sam and Diane were working as a unit here, and that's just something that I absolutely always love seeing, and it makes me so happy. And, well, other emotions as well as we hurtle towards the end of Season 5, which I'm not looking forward to. Well, it's bittersweet, but we'll talk about that the closer we get there. But for now, The Godfather Part 3 is certainly a well-written episode, a really nice introduction to the character of Joyce. I rather liked her in this. It was nice to see Woody thinking about his own future and being involved with somebody romantically, because we don't necessarily get that much of Woody's personal life. Whenever we do, it's usually the main focus of an episode, so it's nice to have that here. And ultimately, it's a really good episode. The Godfather Part 3 is pretty brilliant.